Okay. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about how you can prepare to unlock Mephisto World Boss Legend, because he is now in the game as a boss. I'm still working on the boss guide for him, which is going to be also very crucial, because in order to unlock him, actually you're going to have to play his World Boss Legend. But there's a bunch of stuff you can do in the meantime to get prepared for it. There actually are things that you actually need to do to get prepared for it if you're not already prepared for it. I know it sounds weird, but I'll explain why. Because there are requirements to unlock his stage that I skipped by paying a whole bunch of crystals. You don't want to do that for the most part. So I'm going to explain what you can do to prepare for this, because unlike Null, we now know basically for sure. We sort of had the expectation, we sort of had the hope, the assumption that we were going to get Null as a character, and then we did, right? 2.5 months later, we got him. Now, Mephisto could be coming sooner than 2.5 months. There's no guarantee he's going to take that long. Maybe they just wanted to delay Null in order to release the Sentry Epic Quest in order for Sentry to be the first native tier 3, and he's of course not much cheaper, but he's cheaper than Null. You know, maybe there's a bunch of reasons why. Maybe because King in Black hadn't, you know, released enough issues yet or whatever, but there's a very good expectation now. There's like a 99% chance that because the character model's in the game, because he follows all of the same other structural designs as Null World Boss Legend, that eventually you're going to be able to play World Boss Mephisto and get his bios. You're going to have to beat World Boss Mephisto 10 times in order to get 10 bios in order to unlock him at 1 star, and then you're going to begin the process of converting CCF into the different ranked material fusions for CCF in order to get your Mephisto to 6 stars. And this is the exact same process with Black Antimatter that we already do, and you can see rank 2, rank 4, rank 6, that we already do for native tier 2 characters, because Mephisto is going to be a native tier 3 character. But because his bios are not yet in the game, he's just a boss. You can see there his bios are not one of the drops. Because he's not yet in the game, you can't actually unlock him. So what can you do? And that's basically the rest of this video. What can you do to prepare for World Boss Ultimate, World Boss Legend Mephisto to unlock him? If you want to unlock him as soon as possible, you want to build him up as soon as possible. You want him to be your next, like, you know, key character. And if you do, you're going to want to start preparing now, because he's going to be really expensive. So here we go. First thing you want to do is make sure that you can clear all of the World Boss Ultimates that I'm now showing you 5 times each. Now, you can technically do each one once and then play each one, you know, once over 5 days, but it would take a really long time, and it's just easier, you know, to think about it this way. On Monday, I beat her. On Tuesday, I beat him. Wednesday, him, for example, right? You don't have to do Super Giant, but you have to do the rest of them. You also don't have to do Null, but you do have to do the rest of them on this right side. So that's the first thing, to beat them 5 times. The second thing that you need to do to prepare is unlock the World Boss Ultimates for Quicksilver, Cable, Scarlet Witch, and Apocalypse. And it actually goes in that order: Quicksilver, Cable, Scarlet Witch, Apocalypse. Now, this is where there's going to be a bit of an issue, because before I had given you guys advice that you can use crystals to unlock or skip the requirement for Scarlet Witch and Apocalypse, because it wasn't really worth it, right? Saving up all of the materials and ranking up Scarlet Witch and Apocalypse versus just spending less than 2,000 crystals to skip it and get directly to Null seemed like a really good strategy for some players at the time. It's no longer a really good strategy, because assuming we're gonna get more World Boss Legends, and it's possible we will, I don't want to start a whole speculation about it and get people's hopes up, but we got a Universal, now we have a Blast, right? It follows that we could see a Speed World Boss Legend and a Combat World Boss Legend, right? It doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility. Now, I realize that the page is sort of balanced now with 6 on each side, but, you know, it also makes sense that they want one of each type, because they also went with Speed, Blast, and Combat here, where there's no Universal, but you sort of get what I'm trying to say. Anywho, so you don't really want to spend crystals anymore to skip the requirements for Scarlet Witch and Apocalypse. You can still do that, right? You paid the 2,000 for Null. You could just pay the 2,000 again for Mephisto, but again, there's a possibility we're going to get more World Boss Legends, so you probably don't want to do that. So I would recommend, you know, at some point in time, working on these characters in order to unlock their stages, World Boss Ultimate, in order to build them up, in order to be able to just skip that, like do the requirement rather than having to skip it with crystals. Skip the crystal skip, basically. Now, you actually don't have to play Null at all. He's not going to be a requirement for unlocking Mephisto, but it will be good practice to play Null before you play Mephisto, because the difficulty level is similar, and also the CCF is nice. And that's the next thing you need to do. You need to farm a bunch of CCF. Now, you should ideally play Null and farm CCF on Null in order to build up for Mephisto. Or if you have Mephisto unlocked, farm Mephisto because they drop the same amount of CCF. Or if you can't do either of those, at least try to play Thanos when you can. Maybe try to do a couple rerolls to get Thanos as your world boss of the day, because he's going to drop extra CCF. And you're going to need 3,000 CCF. That's right, 3,000 CCF to build up Mephisto from 1 star to 6 stars. You're going to need more than that, but you're going to need 3,000 CCF for that. So start farming it now, start saving it, right? Like if you were thinking about tier 3 in Daredevil or tier 3 in Cable, you don't necessarily need them, but you were thinking about it because they're cool or whatever. You saw a video and you're really hype. But now Mephisto seems like an even better prospect for you. You're a huge Mephisto fan. You love pentagrams. Then I would say start saving your CCF, because 3K is a lot. It's almost the entirety of what I have saved up, and I'm a whale. So yeah, start saving your CCF now. You need 3K just to get him to 6 stars. And that does not include his gears from 15 to 25. So yeah, it's a big investment there. The next thing you should do after you've done that, or while you're doing that, actually, while you're doing it, you should farm type enhancement kits for universal and speed types specifically, because unlike Null, who's a universal, Mephisto is blast. And because he's a blast type, you can actually just check any other blast type to see. But basically in the type enhancement thing, blast types are going to have an advantage against the combat types, and they're not going to have an advantage against speed, universal, or their own, but they also don't have a disadvantage. So you can see there, Mephisto is going to deal more damage to combat types, not necessarily this much more, but maybe, and he's going to receive less damage from combat types. And then for blast types, there's no benefit, but for universals, you can see that universals are going to have an increased damage to blast types. It's a smaller advantage, but there's still an advantage, 20%, up to 20%, that you can use that you can upgrade on any universal that you have. And then for speed types, you know that the upgrade bonus goes up to 60%. It's 50% there at rank 4, but if you check out my Luna, it goes all the way up to 60%. That's a huge bonus for characters like Daredevil, Rogue, Luna Snow, even characters like Spider-Man, although he's not very good for Mephisto, I'm assuming. You know, maybe he gets a uniform in the future, and it helps, right? 60% is a big chunk. And you can even save for future speed types that might be getting reworks, or, you know, new speed types that might come to the game. So you can check the type enhancement kits and check which days are best to farm. Obviously, Saturday is great to farm for multiple reasons. Monday or Sunday is not bad to farm either, because you get the speed kits. This day's not bad to farm for the universal kits. Speed kits there, universal kits there, universal kits there. You know what? It's actually every single day. I didn't realize that, but every single day it's either speed. I thought there was one day that would be blast and combat, but I was wrong. So that's great. And literally any day of GBR that you can play, you should already be playing for the 500 card crafting cubes, but now you should also play for those type enhancement kits, because it really does matter, right? That 60% difference really does matter, because if I take a speed type that I haven't worked on, she only has a 30%. So you're literally doubling the increased damage, right? The increased damage is going from 30% increased damage to blast types to 60% increased damage. Now, I know all the math nerds in this watching the video could be like, Alex, that's not going to double your damage. I didn't say it's going to double your damage. It's going to double the number from 30% to 60% increased damage to blast types. And it greatly improves the damage reduction. So she's only getting a 30% damage reduction against blast types from Mephisto, whereas Luna's getting a 45% reduction. That's really good. It's a 50% increase in the number from 30 to 45. So yeah, really good there. You definitely want to do that. Otherwise, instead of farming GBR, you can actually just farm the story mode missions, because they also drop type enhancement kits. So if you have a particular mission, I would actually recommend one of the missions here, because some of them are very, very short. Like, for example, 3-1 is super short, and it drops speed kits. So I'm going to hide my camera for a second here. 3-1 is actually a really good mission to farm specifically, because this will give you tons of speed kits. So 3-1 is another really good one. And then I believe 7-1 is also really, really short. Maybe not 7. No, it's not 7-1. It's this one, 7-3, but that's combat. So find a really short mission that drops universal type enhancement kits, and then farm 3-1. You can farm it endlessly, basically, as long as you have the patience and the energy, and you can get tons of speed and type enhancement kits to sort of bank them up before Mephisto. You can start preemptively trying to get your top speed clearers to max level type enhancement against Mephisto specifically, so that works as well. And then last but not least, this one's probably going to be the hardest next to saving up a bunch of CCF, but try to save your gold. And again, this sort of, it goes without saying, if you want to build up any character, you're going to need a lot of gold, but specifically for Mephisto, like Null, 100 million gold may not be enough. I actually don't remember exactly how much gold it was, but I am not exaggerating when I say nine digits may not be enough. Yeah, that's right. 100 million gold is the minimum I think you have to save for these characters. I feel like I have this number in my head. I feel like 120 million was actually what I spent for Null, and he's not even done yet. He's not done. Only has one gear at 25. And again, my 3000 CCF does not factor in these gears because there's RNG involved, right? I could press the button and it could be 5 times, and that's only 15 CCF. But I could press the button and it could be 20 times, and then suddenly it's 60 CCF that I spent. Look at that quick math by your boy Alex. So yeah, it's only counting up to gear 15 where you don't have to use CCF, but yeah, it's a ton of gold. And so, you know, I say that knowing that it sounds kind of, you know, silly. Every character requires gold, but with these kinds of characters, not only are they very, very strong, if Mephisto follows the rule here, Null is one of the best, if not the best character in the game for PvE content, period. And he's very, very good for PvP. So he's like, you know, basically top 3 on both lists. And Mephisto will probably be the same. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so I wanted to make this video because not only do we now have much more information about World Boss Legend, so we know how to plan, whereas with Null, we were sort of going in blind and we were sort of surprised by everything when he was released as a character because we didn't have the numbers on how much anything would cost, how much CCF, etc. Now we know. So now you can start planning ahead. And I know these types of characters can be super important for some players. And of course, you want to play this game to play with the characters that you want. So, you know, if Mephisto is something that you really, really want, follow all of these steps and you will have him as soon as possible when he's released. And also, you won't have the pain of, you know, building him up to 3 stars and having to stop because you ran out of resources because you didn't hoard enough. So, hoarders unite. Start saving up that CCF, start saving up those that gold, and maybe save up the crystals if you don't want to do Scarlet Witch and Apocalypse. Otherwise, you know, it's a bit of a multi-tiered marketing investment, but it'll all work out in the end because you'll get the character that you want. He'll be badass. You'll be able to play him. Hopefully he transforms. That would be so dope. And then, yeah, cheers to maybe the next World Boss Legend. I don't want to sound, you know, so greedy or so spoiled. I'm not already looking to the next World Boss Legend, but who knows? Maybe it's Kang as a speed type or Super Skrull, or who knows? I don't know. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Mephisto. Will you be going for him? Will you be gunning for Mephisto or not? And how will you be preparing for it? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.